He reached out, and the moment he touched it, the shrine disappeared. He was no longer in Irepidon. He stood in a massive grove beneath an orange sky. No rain, no wind, just the rustle of bones hanging from trees. In front of him, rising from the earth, was a mask, spiraled, with no eyes, bloodstains around the lips, teeth carved from ivory tusks. His mother stood beside it, young again, beautiful, haunted. If you wear it, you will remember, but you will not be the same. Are you ready to know who you are? He stared at her, at the mask, and the grove began to scream. Somewhere between the living and the dead, Adato Kunbo awoke gasping, drenched in rain and sweat, lying flat on the soaked floor of the shrine. The cloth bundle was in his arms. He hadn't imagined it. Unwrapping it slowly, he uncovered the thing from his vision, the ancestral mask. It pulsed faintly in his hands, slick with dampness and lined with spirals, just like the box and the symbol beneath the statue. But this time, up close, he could see the carvings weren't just markings, they were names. Dozens, hundreds, faded, ancient Yoruba names etched in a forgotten dialect. The mask was made of irako wood bone and something darker that shimmered like oil. It had no eye holes, just one long slit across the mouth and around the jaw, dried blood like it had been someone once, and refused to let go, were what she wore. The drowned spirit's whisper echoed in his ears. That night he couldn't sleep. The rain tapped rhythmically on the zinc roof like drums of the masquerade. And then, around midnight, the whispers returned. They didn't come from outside. They came from within his room. A child's voice. Then two. Then many. Soft, repetitive, foreign yet familiar. Baba me, you left us beneath the water. Open away. The blood must remember. He sat up, trembling. In the corner of his room stood the mask, where he hadn't placed it. It was facing him. Suddenly, his window swung open with a bang. Wind rushed in, carrying with it the scent of decay and wet earth. On the wind, he heard his name, not as a call but a chant. Adato Kunbo, Adato Kunbo, Adato Kunbo. He rushed to the window. The rain had stopped, but in the flooded village square, he saw them. Figures, children, 10 of them, standing waist-deep in muddy water. They were looking up at him, each with their mouths sewn shut, yet he could still hear their voices. Baba me, you have a mask. You are the bridge. One of them began to walk toward the compound, then another, then the rest. He backed away from the window. A flash of lightning lit the room. The mask was gone. He turned and screamed. It was on his face. He hadn't touched it. He hadn't moved. But it was there, tight against his skin, biting into his cheeks like a parasite. And then he could see, not with his eyes, but through blood, through time. He saw his mother younger, performing a forbidden ritual with 4 other women beneath a moonlit waterfall. A woman screaming as she drowned her own child. A man faceless, bearing a mask in the roots of an irako tree. The elders of Irepidon, hands stained red, kneeling before an unseen figure that whispered in thunder. Then he saw himself, standing before a crowd of masked spirits, holding a child in one arm, holding a blade in the other. He tore the mask off and fell to the floor, gasping. The door creaked open. A small girl stood in the doorway, dripping wet, skin pale like soaked clay, her eyes hollow. She opened her mouth, but it wasn't stitched like the others. She smiled. You remember now, don't you? We've been waiting for you, Baba. Nightfall, the edge of Ebo-Egan. The next morning, no one remembered the rain had stopped. The villagers walked as if under a spell, moving slowly, eyes glassy, whispering forgotten prayers under their breath. Crows circled, though there were no carcasses, and the well water had turned black. Adato Kunbo did not speak to anyone. He didn't need to. The mask had shown him too much. And the girl, the pale child who smiled and called him Baba, was nowhere to be found. He followed the pull. The whispers, the memories that didn't belong to him, they all led to Ebo-Egan, the grove of the masquerades. Every child in Irepidon knew the story. If you enter the grove without the blessing of your blood, your own shadow will drag you away. The elders forbade it. Hunters avoided it. Even birds flew around it. But Adito Kunbo was no longer just a man. He was now a key, the vessel his mother had warned him about, the blood link between the living and the ancestral. He entered the grove barefoot, the mask tucked beneath his arm, the air growing colder with every step. The forest did not rustle. It breathed. Tall trees with bark like human skin stood in a circle. Their leaves didn't move. No insect sang. In the center of the grove, hanging from a single branch, was a gourd-shaped bell made of bone. Beneath it sat a figure, blindfolded and still. An old woman. Her skin was the color of ironwood. Her hair matted with white cowries. She sat cross-legged on a mound of dried palm fronds and spoke, without opening her mouth. You have brought the mask, but it is your blood that brought you here. You are the son of Say the Vessel. The last door is opened. Adito Kunbo stepped forward. Who are you? I am what remains of the fifth. He froze. The fifth woman, the one who gave her breath to the covenant. She should have died. I did die, she said, answering his thoughts. But my voice lives here, between the roots and the silence. She extended a long, bony finger toward the mask. Do you know what this is? He nodded. It's a mask that doesn't show you who you are. It shows you who you were supposed to be. You cannot break the curse, she said softly, but you can inherit it fully or pass it on. Adito Kunbo felt the ground beneath him shift. Pass it on to a child, one of the drowned. The ones your mother tried to protect. The ones she couldn't save. They still wait in the rain. The air grew dense, buzzed with ancestral voices, chanting, Ibo and Enbwa, Ibo and Enbwa. The ancestors returning. Then the woman raised her hand and struck the bone bell. Everything went dark. He stood now in a field of white sand, surrounded by shadows wearing elaborate Egan costumes, flowing robes of raffia, cloth feathers, and bone. Their masks stared at him, none with eyes, none with mouths. One of them stepped forward. It held a child's hand. The girl, the same one from the storm. She looked at him with no anger, only expectation. Choose, the masquerade whispered. Wear the mask and carry their pain. Or give it to her and walk away free. Adito Kunbo looked at the girl, then at the mask. The spirals on it moved, alive. He stepped forward, held out the mask, and placed it on his own face. The girl smiled, then vanished. So did the masquerades. So did the sand. So did the grove. He awoke again on the floor of the shrine, the mask beside him. The water had risen to his chest. The door was closed, and far away, thunder rumbled again. The rain had returned, but this time it was listening,